I turned 30 in June. I almost never do anything for my birthday. The last time I tried, my grandparents let me use their timeshare for a few days, and I ended up getting infection 19. Long story short, basically since I turned 29, I've been telling my husband I wanted to do something sort of special for my 30th birthday. I requested the time off work, which was just granted this week, so I was just waiting for that to start planning and paying for things. Even though my husband knew this, he dropped $400 on concert tickets to see his favorite band the day before my birthday, and in the middle of the week off I had requested. I told him I'm a bit upset, and I felt he was being selfish by buying the tickets during the week. I was trying to plan a vacation for us for my birthday without ever talking to me about it. The band in question is also coming to a town 5 hours away in August. But he thought it would be a good surprise and that I should be grateful he wanted to share this experience with me. I just feel a bit hurt, and my husband says I'm being unreasonable. So I have to ask, people of Reddit, am I the idiot? Edit, because no one reads the comments, the band is Kruang Bin, which I do like. But again, the concert is in the middle of the week I was trying to plan a vacation for us, and they're literally coming back around 2 months later. Edit 2. Okay, y'all, when I came and shared this, I was still very heat of the moment upset, and so was he. I think we've all mostly come to the conclusion that he was being the AH. That being said, I'm not getting a divorce over one selfish, manipulative incident. Things happen, people are human. I take these kind of extreme resolutions with a grain of salt. They're usually just projections of their own situation or past situation. Can my husband be manipulative and selfish at times? Absolutely. But is he always like that? Not at all. Everyone has their selfish, manipulative moments. Sometimes without meaning to, it's only human. Where it becomes a problem is if it's a pattern of behavior, which in my case it's not. I love my husband, and I'm not getting a divorce over things not going my way for my birthday. Am I annoyed and frustrated and hurt? Absolutely, and I plan to explain that to my husband in better terms now that we've had a chance to cool off. Ultimately, we can probably make things work that we accomplish both things, even if that means reselling his tickets and going to a different show. All this to say, divorce is a really extreme measure and shouldn't be suggested to someone on the basis of one singular post, unless the action is so extreme. I've been with my husband for 9 years, married for 5. Yes, he absolutely drives me nuts sometimes, but he's still my favorite person that I love with my entire heart. And at the end of the day, we're usually pretty good at talking things through and working things out once we get past the initial stubbornness and anger on both our parts. Now, for a few comments before the update. Comment 1, not the idiot, what a horrible gift. Honey, I bought tickets to see my favorite band for your birthday. You should be honored I want to share this experience with you. Your husband may be a great guy, but his birthday gift to you is incredibly selfish, and quite frankly, it stinks. Please feel free to read this comment to him. This gift was a swing and a big miss. I hope you buy him a manicure and pedicure for his birthday. After all, he should be honored to share the experience with you. Comment 2. If you have never traveled by yourself, you should give it a try. I do, and I love it. You do exactly what you want to do. You can eat when and where you want to, take a nap, see a movie you want to see, eat 2 desserts, and not run it by anybody else for their approval. There is something about being a solo traveler that opens you up to meeting people you would never meet, and I don't mean that in a creepy way. Now for the update. Thanks for sticking around for the update. So after the whole concert ticket fiasco, things went from bad to worse. My husband, let's call him Mr. Surprise, decided to double down on his surprise by booking a non-refundable hotel for the night of the concert. Yep, you heard that right. More money down the drain without even a whisper in my direction. I found out when a confirmation email popped up on our shared tablet. I was livid. I confronted him about it, and he had the nerve to say he thought it would extend the fun. Extend the fun for who? Certainly not for me, the person whose birthday was being sidelined. I couldn't believe it. I felt like I was in one of those TV shows where the husband just doesn't get it, no matter how many times you spell it out for him. But wait, it gets better. Turns out Mr. Surprise had been planning this whole thing with a buddy of his. Let's call him Enabler. Enabler's wife apparently had spilled the beans to a mutual friend, who then told me that the two of them were planning to make a whole guys' trip out of it. The concert was just the beginning. They were planning to hit up some bars, maybe a casino, Who knows what else? I was beyond hurt. It felt like a betrayal. Not only had he ignored my wishes for my birthday, but he was also turning it into a boys' night out. I felt like a background character in my own life story. So I did something I never thought I'd do. I called Enabler's wife. We weren't close, but desperate times, right? I explained everything, how I felt, what I'd been planning. She was shocked, to say the least. She had no idea about my birthday plans and was under the impression that I was on board with the whole concert trip. The aftermath was messy. Enabler's wife confronted him, and they had a huge fight. She was on my side, thankfully, and together we managed to get through to our respective husbands about how selfish they'd been acting. It was a whole ordeal, with lots of shouting and some tears. But in the end, Mr. Surprise and Enabler both apologized. We managed to sell the concert tickets and cancel the hotel. Thank goodness for cancellation policies and resale websites. Mr. Surprise was sulking for days, but I didn't care. I was too busy replanning my birthday vacation. Just when I thought we could move past this, another bomb dropped. Mr. Surprise had been keeping a secret from me. He'd been laid off from his job a month ago and had been pretending to go to work every day while he looked for a new one. He bought the tickets before he lost his job and didn't know how to tell me about any of it. I was shocked. I didn't know what to feel. Anger, sympathy, betrayal. It was a mix of all three and then some. We had a long, hard talk about trust and communication. It was rough, but we got through it. He's since found a new job, and we're slowly rebuilding the trust that was lost. As for my birthday, we ended up having a quiet celebration at home. It wasn't the vacation I'd planned, but after all the drama, it was perfect in its own way. We're working on our issues, and I'm cautiously optimistic about the future. Thanks for reading. My cousin's girlfriend acts like she owns our place and throws a party that gets my stuff stolen. So I pack my bags and leave them with a baby on the way, in an empty apartment. So I, 24-year-old male, live with my cousin, 23-year-old male, and recently he began dating a former coworker of ours, 20-year-old female, who has her own place. They started officially seeing each other around Valentine's Day this year and have literally spent less than 24 consecutive hours apart since. That being said, apart from what feels like the loss of a best friend, I am very annoyed/frustrated that he is now never home to help with chores, nor to care for our 3 cats. And when he is home, she is now there too, every time. I don't dislike his girlfriend, even though we had some less than friendly interactions when working together. Whole other story. But I definitely did not sign up to live with her for days at a time. Although I have never outright expressed this, I have hinted at it a couple of times by jokingly saying that she does not get a vote on trivial matters because she does not live here or pay rent, to which her reply is always, I basically live here because of how much I am over here. Today she texted me asking if I would be back home tonight. I am visiting my parents for a couple of days, and when I said I wasn't sure and asked why she was asking, she responded, oh, just wondering. Would I be the jerk for replying that it is none of her business when I decide to come and go to my apartment? Edit. Didn't expect this much traffic, my apologies. For clarity, 1. I have 2 out of 3 cats with me visiting my parents. His cat is back home with him and his girlfriend. 1.5, due to his excessive absence, I have decided to try my best to retain sole custody of the 3rd shared kitty, as I will likely be relocating for work in the coming months. 2. Yes, I sort of contradicted myself, but to clarify, he has not been home for about 70% of the past month, and the other 30% he is, and she is with him every night he stays at home. However, even when he is home, I have had to clean up behind them in the common spaces. 3. The lease is in both of our names. It is split down the middle with our own bedrooms and bathrooms, but shared common spaces. 3.5. We have a previously agreed upon no intimacy rule for common spaces. 4. I have decided not to respond to her and will be contacting him shortly to find out why she is asking me such things instead of him and why they need to know. Update. I asked my cousin why his girlfriend is texting me, wondering about when I would be coming home. He told me it was so that he could make sure his cat wouldn't be by himself last night. When I asked why he didn't just ask me himself, his response was that he was about to ask me, but then he got ready for class and forgot to, so she just went ahead and did it. I then explained how she could have just said that when I asked why, and that it came off as weird as a text from her and not from him in the first place. He apologized and reiterated that it was so that his cat was not alone for the night. I'm glad this was the reason, as I don't feel as bad about leaving his kitty with him. Currently house hunting, as I'm still annoyed about other issues. But that'll be another Am I the Idiot for another time. Now for a few comments before the update. Comment 1, info. I am very annoyed/frustrated that he is now never home to help with chores. I definitely did not sign up to live with her for days at a time. Well, which is it? Is he never there? Or are both of them always there? Comment 2, yes. Unless she is being demanding or mean, there is no reason to do this unless it is an ongoing thing. It sounds like you just don't like her. You should address that before anything. Now, for the update, thanks for sticking around. A lot has happened since my last post. So my cousin's girlfriend, let's call her Miss Clingy, decided to throw a surprise party for my cousin's birthday. She planned it all without telling me, and guess where she threw it? Right in our apartment. I walked in after a long day at work to a full-blown bash, with people I didn't even know spilling drinks on the couch and, you guessed it, breaking our no intimacy rule in the common spaces. I was livid. I confronted Miss Clingy, and she had the audacity to tell me that since she's over so much, she feels like it's her place too. I reminded her that feeling isn't the same as paying rent, but she just rolled her eyes. My cousin, of course, took her side, saying I should be more understanding. Understanding? I'm not the one turning our home into a nightclub. The next day, I found out that one of the partygoers had stolen some of my stuff. My laptop, some cash I had stashed away, even a watch my granddad gave me. That was the last straw. I called the cops, filed a report, and told my cousin that either he starts setting boundaries with Miss Clingy or I'm moving out. He promised to talk to her, but I wasn't holding my breath. Then the unexpected happened. The police caught the thief, and it turned out to be one of Miss Clingy's friends. She was mortified, apologized profusely, and even offered to pay for the stolen items. My cousin was shocked. He hadn't realized the kind of people she was bringing into our home. This event seemed to change his perspective. He started spending more time at the apartment without Miss Clingy glued to his side. He even took over some of the chores and cat duties. I was surprised, to say the least, and a bit relieved. Maybe he was finally seeing things clearly. But just when I thought we were getting back to normal, another bomb dropped. Miss Clingy was pregnant. She told us with tears in her eyes, and my cousin was over the moon. They were going to keep the baby, and she was moving in for real. No discussion, no asking me, just a decision that was made without my input. I felt betrayed. This wasn't what I signed up for when I agreed to live with my cousin. I told him that, and we had a huge fight. He said I was being selfish, that I couldn't see how important this was to him. I shot back that he was the one being selfish, not considering how his life choices were affecting me. In the end, I knew I had to move out. I found a small studio apartment and started packing my things. My cousin tried to apologize to make amends, but it was too late. I was done with the drama, the disrespect, and the chaos. On my last day, as I was loading boxes into my car, Miss Clingy came out. She looked different, more subdued. She quietly thanked me for everything and said she hoped we could all be a family someday. I didn't know what to say, so I just nodded and drove off. Now I'm in my new place and it's peaceful. No surprise parties, no unexpected house guests, just me and my cats. I've been proven right in the end. Boundaries are important, and so is respect. I miss my cousin, but I don't regret my decision. Sometimes you have to put your foot down and demand the respect you deserve. Thanks for reading. My stepmother pressured me to let her adopt me, and stepbrother spread nasty rumors. But after I exposed his lies in front of the whole school, he had to stand up and publicly apologize while I made sure everyone knew who my real mom was. Starting with background, my parents were best friends for many years and were never in a relationship. But in college, they had a drunken one-night stand, and I, 16-year-old male, am the result. They didn't try to make a romantic relationship work, but stayed friends, and I was always told they loved each other, but they weren't in love with each other, and they made a great team of parents for me. I was 1 year old when my mom went missing. She had some mental health issues and nobody knows what happened to her. She's a missing person still 15 years later. Her parents, siblings, and my dad never gave up the search for her, and they still hope we'll find out one day. I grew up very close to my maternal grandparents and aunts and uncles. My dad stayed close to them too. My dad met my stepmom when I was 4 and married her when I was 7, after living together for a year since I was 6. My stepmom had a son 2 years older than me, my stepbrother. He never knew his dad and does not consider my dad to be his dad. I don't consider my stepmom to be my mom either, but I do love her. My stepmom asked to adopt me 3 times. Once after the wedding, another time when I was 10, and then when I turned 16. I said no to the adoption each time. My stepbrother has taken so much offense on his mom's behalf for this. He told me his mom has been raising me and treating me as her son for 10 years now, and longer really, and I should let her adopt me, and I should let her have that level of legal connection with me. He told me it makes her feel like shoot when I reject her in favor of a missing woman I don't remember, and who could have just chosen to leave me behind for all any of us know. He told me I was an ungrateful brat and I act like I'm a petulant 6-year-old, and his mom deserves better. I argued that I could say the same about him being adopted by my dad. He told me he made it clear to my dad from day one he didn't want him to be his dad. I asked him why it was different for him and not for me. He said because my dad doesn't live in anyone's shadow. We argued a few times about this, but the last time was a few days ago, and my stepmom was there, and I fired back that my stepbrother doesn't have the right to pressure me into being adopted by his mom. My stepmom got upset, and my stepbrother called me a weenie. I found out after this that my dad never knew that my stepmom had asked to adopt me. He was also upset that I was being pressured into this. My stepmom said I was rude to my stepbrother. My stepbrother told our half-siblings, and they're upset about the whole thing too. This has become such a mess, and my mom's family has been insulted in all of this too, and I hate it all. But am I the idiot for what I said to him? Now for a few comments before the update. Comment 1, whoa, your stepmom has been asking behind your dad's back and included her son in her pressure tactics? I think there should be a family meeting where everything is put out in the open. I'd be very concerned about what else she's doing or saying. It seems very clear that no one should be forced to be adopted. Not not stepbrother, but the stepmother's double standards are not acceptable, and her turning OP's siblings against them is an issue. Comment 2, not the idiot. Your stepbrother is totally immature, lacks emotional awareness, only his opinion can be correct, and is a bully. Your stepmother totally overstepped by asking you without at least informing your father and including him in the discussion. You should share your feelings about the situation with your father, and depending on how mature they are, maybe your step-siblings. I am really sorry for you, and I hope things will get better. Now for the update. Thanks for sticking around for this update. So things have gone from bad to worse. My stepbrother, let's call him Mr. Pushy, decided to take things up a notch. He went behind my back and told everyone at school that my real mom probably ditched me because she didn't want me. That hit me like a punch to the gut. I mean, who does that? It spread like wildfire, and suddenly I'm the kid with the runaway mom. I couldn't believe he'd stoop so low. But wait, it gets better. Mr. Pushy didn't stop there. He hacked into my social media accounts and started posting stuff about how I'm an ungrateful jerk who doesn't appreciate his stepmom. I had friends messaging me, asking what was going on, and I had to spend hours cleaning up the mess and changing all my passwords. It was a nightmare. My dad was furious when he found out. He grounded Mr. Pushy for a month and took away his phone and computer privileges. My stepmom tried to defend him, saying he was just hurt and acting out, but my dad wasn't having any of it. He said there's no excuse for that kind of behavior, and I could see the disappointment in his eyes. It was the first time I felt like my dad was really standing up for me in this whole adoption mess. The next day, things took an unexpected turn. My aunt, my mom's sister, showed up at our house with a box of my mom's old things. She said she'd been cleaning out the attic and thought I might want to have them. It was a bittersweet moment going through her stuff, but it made me feel closer to her. I found an old diary of hers, and guess what? She wrote about me all the time, about how much she loved me and how she wanted the best for me. It was like she was speaking to me from the past, telling me I was making the right choice. Mr. Pushy saw me reading the diary, and for the first time, I saw something like shame in his eyes. He mumbled an apology and said he didn't know about the diary. I didn't say much. I just nodded and went back to reading. I think he realized he'd crossed a line and there was no going back. The next day at school, I was called to the principal's office. Turns out Mr. Pushy had come clean to the principal about spreading rumors and hacking my accounts. He'd asked to make a public apology at the school assembly. It was a big deal, him standing up there in front of everyone, admitting he was wrong. I didn't feel victorious or anything, just relieved that maybe this whole saga was coming to an end. But life's never that simple, right? My stepmom sat me down and had a heart-to-heart. She said she never meant to replace my mom and that she just wanted to show me she cared. She said she'd stop pushing for the adoption if it was causing me so much pain. I could tell it wasn't easy for her to say that, and I appreciated it. We didn't magically become the perfect family after that, but things were a little less tense. So here we are a few days later, and the dust is starting to settle. My stepbrother is keeping his distance, probably embarrassed by his own actions. My dad's been checking in on me more, and my stepmom, well, she's trying in her own way. And me, I'm just trying to get through each day, one step at a time. Thanks for reading. If you like this video, you'll probably like these too. Also, while you're here, please consider subscribing. It's your support that keeps this channel alive and allows me to make better and longer videos. Have a great day.